We finally made it back to Australia.
It's been a long journey to get back here, but we boarded our flight, we crossed that ocean, and we are here in Australia.
We're going to go see Derek soon.
Yeah.
No, just kidding. We're still in America. I wish. But welcome to The Cup, the Currently Unnamed Podcast, where the tea is piping hot and we're always ready to spill. I'm Logan Murphy, just a gay, here with good old Miss Pitcha Paytas, as always, because caffeine is necessary. And today it's a peach mix with bubbly sparkling water in the flavor white peach and ginger. It's really good. I'm like really happy with this blend. Anyway.
Lovely. And hi, I am Lana, your resident diva, here to spill the tea, here to drink the tea, here to gobble up all of the tea, because I like my tea piping hot like our logo says. So I'm here for it. I'm in Australia. And since I'm drinking Strawberry Sunkist.
Why am I not surprised?
The brand of all brands of the greatest drink you'll ever drink. Strawberry Sunkist.
Hire Lana, please. Hire Lana.
I mean, we need the sponsorship, so here we go.
We really do. You know, that would be greatly appreciated. But yes, we are finally back discussing Australian Survivor. It's been a hot minute. A lot has happened, and yet nothing has happened, and yet everything has happened. Yeah. In 2 weeks.
We're jumping 2 weeks back. We're going to go all the way to 2 weeks ago, and we're going to discuss all of that, and we're going to get caught up, and maybe, possibly, we'll stay on schedule. Who knows? Who knows what may happen? We don't know.
Schedules are arbitrary, is what I'm learning, even though I hate saying that because I love a schedule, but they're arbitrary.
You know, sometimes schedules are subject to change.
That part.
So let's jump into episode 17 of.
Did you want to, Lana? You have something you wanted to bring up first, though.
Oh, you want to do that first? Okay, sure. Let's do that now. So I am going. Let's break away from Survivor Australia to something more real. Listen, we always talk about reality TV. Well, this is something real I want to talk about. I have a friend. Her name is Miss Kimberly Davis, who has kidney disease. And this month or this week, I'll put my shirt so you can see the shirt. It says, "Her fight is my fight." And I am here to support her and try to help her find a kidney. She is in need of a kidney. I have the information. If you would like to, be a kidney donor for Miss Davis, she's a great woman who is just amazing. She's an amazing woman and a very good friend of mine. And I would love, love, love if she could find a donor and be able to live the rest of her life happy and healthy. So that's the information right down below. If you want to be a donor, or anybody who can be a donor, call UAB. And there's a number down there. Choose option 4 and let them know that you are interested in being a donor for Kimberly Davis. She was born on June 13th, day after my birthday. She was born on June 13th, 1968, I think was her year. So if you know anybody at that age or when that the kidney will be a good fit match, we would love, love, love it if you could, help with that. So that's my real moment. Please be a part if you can. And if you can't, you don't know anybody who is that, we'll take anything, prayers, thoughts, anything that will help. We would greatly appreciate it. So I will be speaking on this probably for a while now. So this will not be the last you hear of it if you stay in tune with the cup. But yeah, please, if you can be a donor for Miss Kimberly Davis, call that number. Thank you. I can't hear you.
My microphone was off. But yes, we have the information running on the banner below. It'll be available in the description of the video as well. So please help out if you can. I am not of a similar age, so I don't think my kidney would be a good fit. But if it was, I would offer my kidney. But something tells me mine just, But yes, so please help out if you can. I will be sending all my prayers that direction. So yes, the real we put the real in reality as well.
We do
sometimes. But yes, okay, Australian Survivor. We're here. We are here. Episode 17. Mm-hmm. We're going all the way back to episode 17.
Sorry. Look, we're going to get it done. We didn't say we were going to do it in a timely manner. We just said we're going to get it done. Yes. So we're getting it done. Episode 17.
I'm leaving banners on screen just so that way people know what episode we're talking about because there's 4 of them.
Cool. So let's start off with Shay.
Our baby.
I love Shay. Shay was sent to Purgatory, and she's sitting in Purgatory all by herself, and she is petrified, which I would have been too. There's no way you're sitting me in no dark, open space with bugs and snakes and who knows, God knows what out there in this. It just looked horrible. It looked bad. The floor looked hard. It just was not. But it was just, like you said, nothing but rocks and dirt. And it was poor Shay.
Not for me, not for you.
No. Mm-mm. But we see Shay doing her thing. But Shay impressed me, I will say. Shay built her fire, built her shelter, and it was a nice looking shelter. I was like, oh, Shay, I see you.
I was like, okay, sure.
Because I was like, I don't know if I would have been able to do that, but Shay did that. So I wasn't that mad at Shay I was mad that she had to go, but she did the best that she can. We saw, they tried to go back and we watched Jordy's plan fail at the last tribal council.
Because we're coming off of a wild week 6. Yeah. I wasn't here to talk about it, but God help us all. It
was crazy.
The Jesse of it all, the Purgatory of it all, it
was a lot.
Sam being a liar and then continuing to be a liar and then continuing to be a liar. And then guess what, Lana? More lying.
More. Just it was guys. It was crazy. Sam said she was gonna play the idol for Jesse, but then I think she took it back when Jesse continued. I mean, not for Jesse, for Jordy.
Yeah.
She said, I would play it for Jordy if it need to, but then I think she took it back when Jordy started telling everybody that Sam had Jesse's idol. So in her mind, she was like, ugh, I told you I would use it for you if you kept quiet about it. But you didn't. So now I no longer have to use it for you.
Honestly, because of these 4 episodes, we really have to add to the Survivor or the Australian Survivor drinking game. Drink every time Jordy tries to convince somebody that Sam has Jesse's idol, and drink every time Sam denies that she has Jesse's idol.
Also, drink every time Jordy says, I'm the Joker.
The Joker is better than Juicy Dave, I'll be honest. So I'm fine with that, but
all of them are bad. I'm just everybody's so repetitive. They don't stop with just go on and on and on and on with the same things over it was crazy. Jordy says he threw a vote on Mark to make them think he's targeting Mark, but he's really targeting Sam.
Mm-hmm.
And that never worked. It just didn't work at all.
No. And Chrissy, let's talk about Chrissy for a second here, Lana, because
please.
God help me, Chrissy. I I want to love her, and I do, but there are things she does that just piss me the fuck off. And in this moment, fully talking to Jordy and Michelle, being like, oh yeah, I'm aligned with Josh and Jordan and Sam and Mark and Dave. And like, it's like, y'all are really going to make this 6-person majority very well known by the end of these 2 weeks. Like,
I mean, if you didn't know, I don't know what rock you're under. Even in the game, in the moment, you know who the 6 are. It's just like you just know, and it's like I don't know. I just feel like they just don't know how to stop talking. Nobody knows how to stop talking. It's very evident in this week's episode, and next week's episode, and the week after that episode, and the week after that, the next day episode, and this going into this current episodes. People just don't know how to stop talking. It is what it is. Nobody believes Jordy. Jordy is trying to tell everybody Sam has Jesse's idol. They have 2 idols between them. They're a couple. Nobody believes him.
He is trying to get every single person in the tribe, the snakes, the alligators, the cameraman,
the producing people,
Jonathan, he's trying to get everybody.
And it's just like but see, in my opinion, that is the problem with being known as the Joker of the group. Because nobody takes you seriously. Nobody believes what you say because you're the Joker. You're the happy-go-lucky one. Nobody thinks you really know what you're doing. You can beast through competitions, but do you really know strategy? And Jordy knows strategy, but nobody believes the strategy. So it's a double-edged sword for Jordy. Like, he's like, I'm trying to convince everybody. Nobody seems to believe him. But Sam has slowly gotten more and more paranoid throughout this episode. Like, literally going around trying to find out everything about everything. And I'm like,
I'm pretty sure as well, this is the moment where she goes and sits next to Chrissy. And she's like, it's not paranoia when, like, things are actually happening. And I'm like, girl, this is what took you out of season 2. This is what's going to take you out of this season 2.
Sick.
I fully have just fallen off of the Sam train. Like, I don't want to see the Sam train. I don't want anything to do with the Sam train. I'm over it.
I don't know.
You know what I'm not over, Lana?
What's that?
This reward challenge where someone wins a car.
A freaking car. Don't we love a car giveaway?
Australia's really good about it, doing like a car giveaway like every other season.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember if they gave out a car last year. I don't remember. But we have this reward challenge where you have to get some balls and then free more balls. Free the balls.
Free the balls.
And then you have to roll those balls down a frame into a series of goals. This is an interesting take on a challenge that we've seen time and time again. I liked the way that this frame was shaped. It's kind of like a leaf almost, where there were like different like there were different like sides and one at the end. I really liked it.
I liked it too.
But as all the challenges seem to be coming down to anymore, it comes down to Mark and Jordy, basically.
Dave was in there too.
Dave was in it. Dave couldn't get past like 3, I think it was. He was having a real hard time with like the 4th one. But we get a reward challenge winner, a car winner, and it's Jordy.
Congratulations to Jordy.
And he talked about how he wanted to get the car, so I'm happy for it.
Yeah. I think that was like his dream car was this car. And he was like, this is the car I wanted. And to get this car when I know I should be gone meant so much.
I mean, like, go off, but also, like, this wouldn't be my dream car, but, like, good for you.
I mean, we all have different dream cars.
Yeah. And then
they get to go Jordan gets to take people with him on this picnic that they get set up for the winter. And so Jordan was like, they were like, you can't go by yourself. Who do you want to take with you? So he decides to take Dave, Jordan, and Michelle.
I don't remember what order he chose them in.
I think it was Jordan, then Dave, then Michelle.
Then Michelle, I think so, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they go to their reward. It's like a movie and picnic thing, but plot twist.
The movie family.
Oh, there were so many good family moments in these 2 weeks of episodes that I was like,
yeah,
this is nice.
The way they did that was so beautiful. They thinking they've got to watch some just regular schmegular movie.
Right.
And it's videos from home and everybody's crying. We get tears. It's beautiful. And they get to eat and it was great. Jordy again tries to make his pitch against Sam.
Drink.
Jordan doesn't believe him. Jordan is very stubborn, very much like his cousin.
Jordan is brainwashed by fucking Sam and Mark.
Yeah, so is Josh. They just don't believe, and Christy as well. They don't believe it's the second idol, and that they have two. They know one. They just don't believe it's two, and they just won't. And so,
Jordan may not believe, but Michelle
does. Mm-hmm.
And because she mentions to the group and then talks about it as well in her own confessional, she mentions that Jesse was acting really weird after he got this idol clue. And so going back to when Jesse got the idol and the whole Jesse and Sam of it all. But Michelle's like, yeah, I believe Jordy. Absolutely. Sure. Yeah. And I'm like, thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Michelle.
Somebody to believe Jordy, because Jordy is literally trying to.
One person, just one.
I just really he's trying so hard to convince everybody, and nobody seems to believe him. Just nobody, not even at this point, not KJ, not Christy, not Dave. Nobody believes him, and I'm just like, what does this man have to do to prove to you all that he's telling the truth?
Put himself in the line of fire on 3 different occasions, apparently. We'll talk about it.
We'll talk, but still, whatever. So we move on to the immunity challenge, and it's to balance the pole over your head while balancing a beam on the pole, like balancing a thing on the ends of the pole, and you just have to hold it up.
Yep.
No one's surprised that the 4 finals are Mark, Jordan, Josh, and Jordy. Nobody's surprised by that because this competition screamed for the boys. There was no way none of our girls was going to hold up that pole.
And it makes me think, are these poles adjusted for their body weight, or is everyone holding the same pole?
Because if everyone's holding the same pole.
Okay, then if that's the case, that's automatically there's not a chance. The only woman that would have had a shot at winning this challenge, no offense to the ladies, was Shay. So,
and even then, I don't think she was gonna be able to hold it up that long.
She probably would have made top 4 or 5, but I
think 5. I think she would have beat out Dave, Chrissy, Sam, and KJ, and then she would have dropped. There's no way she's beating all those guys holding that pole up like that.
Nope.
But the winner of this challenge was Jordan.
After a long battle between Jordan and Jordy, Jordy put every single ounce of anything he every ounce of energy he has ever had in his entire life into this immunity challenge.
Because he knew. He knew. Mm-hmm. He just knew that if he didn't win, he was out. There was nothing else he could have done. And so, he put it all, but wasn't good enough. And it was Jordan. And so after the challenge, Mark tells Jordan he's in a much better position working with Sam than with Jordy. I don't think he really had to convince him that hard because Jordan was never going to go to Jordy's side ever at all. Jordy thinks he has Dave, Michelle, and maybe Jordan to vote Sam. And he was working on KJ, but no, we all know he did not have Jordan at all. But then we get Paranoid Sam again.
Let's add that. Drink every time Sam is paranoid.
Every time Sam is paranoid. Yeah.
Drinking again. And this starts a series of episodes where Josh and Jordan are the swing vote. Mm-hmm. They know they have to do something about Sam and Mark, but they're just too they're too fucking scared to do it.
Scared is the word.
And then Dave and Michelle talk about Sam having the idol, but they're like, I don't know. And Michelle's like, well, I believe Jordy. And Dave's like, I don't know. I'm a non-factor in this game and I don't matter. And like, I'm not going to win. I'm going to be a 0 vote finalist. I really still don't like Dave. If you couldn't tell.
I never liked Dave, but okay.
And I never did either. And then Sam decides that she's going to confront Jordy.
This was the most waste of time.
The most idiotic
and just
thing.
It was so dumb. It was like, what are we doing? Why are y'all even talking? Y'all know,
because she goes up to him and she's like, so you're coming after Mark and I, right? And Jordy's like, am I? And she's like, well, it seems like you are because, you're saying that I have this idol that I don't have. And he's like, well, I know you have the idol because I trust my brother. And she's like, well, it seems like we're not going to be working together, right? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, okay then. And then walks off. And I'm like, what is this? Like,
it was such a waste of television and their time. If I was Jordy, I'd be like, why are you even talking to me? We know what we doing against each other. I know you want me out, I want you out. So there's nothing else to talk about.
And then this conversation continues into tribal. But I will point out, we get to tribal and Jonathan's like, let's bring in the jury. Con, Mel, and Jesse. And everyone's like, where's Shay? And for a second, I forgot about Purgatory. And I was like, wait, where's Shay? What happened to Shay? And then I was like, oh, wait, yeah, she's in the middle of a crater.
Right.
Trying to survive. Yep, I forgot about that one. And then I loved the moment where Jesse finds out that Jordy won the car. I love Jesse. I'm still so sad.
I like Jesse more out in jury than I did in the game. Yeah. I mean, but I feel like, and that's nothing against Jesse. I just feel like Jesse and Jordy together in this game for too long would have just got like on my nerves. But I do like seeing like the brotherly reactions to things, and like Jesse being a little brother, he's so like like wide-eyed and was very excited for Jordy, and it was just like, yay, great.
And Jordy is once again talking about how Sam has idols. Sam has an idol. Mark has an idol. Guess what? They have 2 idols. They are a couple with 2 idols. And then Sam says another idiotic statement where she's like, I'll dump my bag out after tribal to everybody who's left. And it's like, why does that matter?
For me, that would have been my red flag, was that he's telling the truth. Because why don't you dump it out right now? Oh, you can't because you got an idol in there that we ain't supposed to see. I would have been like, wait, why not? No, why not now? Why can't you? Why do you have to wait till after tribal? Because if you're trying to prove your point that you don't have the idol, and this man is sitting here telling you he has the idol to prove your point, why don't you dump your bag now? And then she could have dumped it. And if she was smart, dumped it. They see the item like, that's Mark's idol. Mark asked me to put it in the bag for him. Like, so dumb. I would have dumped it and be like, here's Mark's idol. That's what I have in my bag, if you must know.
Because the idols look the same.
They do. But I'm like, has people seen Mark's idol? Because the only thing that's different about the idols is one is red and one is blue. So the only thing is, if you've seen Mark's idol, Mark found the blue idol. So if they see Mark's blue idol and then a red idol comes out of Sam's bag, then they would know. So
I don't think anybody has seen Mark's idol.
And I don't think so
Everybody
either.
knows that he has an idol.
I don't think they've seen it.
No.
And so I literally would have put, you know what else? If you're going to make that statement and miss that stump, put the freaking idol in Mark's bag. And then dump your bag. So who looks like the stupid liar? It was Jordy. But when you talk about, I'll do it when I get back in tribal, makes you look like the liar. But these people were not smart enough to catch up on that. Because none of them said anything.
I'm going to play devil's advocate for the hottest of moments. Because, we recognize that. But, think about if you were in this game. 30,
I would have thought about that.
Okay.
100%.
But I'm 34 days, sleep deprived, food deprived. I may not have caught that, honestly.
Because, this is the thing. And I feel like even in the game, when you're all of the deprived that you just said, but you're trying to figure out if I believe one person over another person. When somebody says, I'll dump my bag, it's okay, let's do that so we can prove your innocence.
You're not
wrong. When they say, I'll do it once we get back from tribal, that's for me, why can't you do it now in front of everybody? Because I feel like if you're trying to prove yourself, you would do that should have been something her and Mark discussed and made a huge big publicity stunt deal. And Mark left his idol, could leave his idol at tribal or leave her idol at tribal, take Mark's idol and then put it in the bag. So if they ask Mark to dump his bag, be y'all know I got my idol, it's right here. And then she dumps her bag and Jordy looks like the liar. And everybody could be from that point on, the vote would have easily been, let's do what we got to do.
Yeah.
And then nobody would doubt Sam again. But to do that whole thing and be I'll do it when we get back. I would have been girl, bye. You were lying. I'm writing her name down. And I would have been told Jordy, write her name down.
Well, unfortunately, no one clocked that because Jordy is then voted out. And when I was watching the episode, I hadn't been spoiled for once. And so I was watching the episode and I was wait, why is there still 5 minutes left? And then Jonathan is well, the Joker may not have had his last laugh. It's time to vote again. And I'm what? I've never seen this on Australian Survivor. I don't think I've ever seen this on Survivor, period. And so I was oh, we're voting.
I was gagged. I was another one? Wow.
Another one.
And another one. But
with no time to talk.
No talking, nothing. Just go vote. Right.
And to nobody's surprise, KJ gets voted out, but it's not the full majority 6. The vote was 5-2-1. I don't know what the breakdown was offhand, but I think it was...
Michelle got 2 votes.
What?
I think Michelle got 2 votes, right?
Michelle got 2 votes and Mark got a vote.
Right.
But I don't know who...
I think KJ voted for Mark.
I thought Michelle voted for Mark.
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't want to spoil myself because I haven't been spoiled on the current week of things. So someone out of the majority 6 did not vote for KJ and instead voted for Michelle is probably what probably Dave. If I had to take a guess, probably Dave. Right. But KJ gets voted out and I'm sad because I like KJ. But then Logan, you forgot Purgatory exists, and now they both go off to Purgatory.
Yep, they're off to Purgatory, and that is the end of episode 17.
Yes. So we start up episode 18 with Jordy and KJ showing up to Purgatory, and Shay is thrilled but also mad, but very happy to have two people with her at Purgatory. And then we switch back to camp, and we see Michelle talking to Sam about how Jordy had told her about this whole idol situation, which again, Sam denies. We drink.
I'm out of drink.
I'll drink this one if you don't. It's all good. So then, like we just talked about, Lana, in this whole situation, Sam moves her idol to Mark's bag. So now Mark has two idols. Technically, according to the rules of Australian Survivor, Mark now has two idols. Sam technically does not have an idol.
Right.
So, and Josh is still clueless and does not think Sam has an idol. And I'm like,
they don't want to believe it.
You're a pilot. How are you this dumb?
They just don't believe it. They don't want to believe it. And they're, like we said before, they're freaking scared. They're scared of Sam and Mark. And I don't understand why they're so scared. But they're scared.
Anyway, immunity challenge. Because this episode...
It was kind of... Okay, but okay.
Well, this episode has a lot that happens. So we get like 10 minutes into the episode. We're at the immunity challenge.
Yes. So it's a ring toss. They have 3 heats or 2 heats.
2 heats, yeah.
2 heats. First is the ring toss. You got to toss these rings. You got to get 3 rings.
You got to toss one, and then you got to find one in this like haystack.
Yeah.
And then you got to like use this pole to push the third one from like a rope with a series of like whatever
pegs, and they had to get and throw all those 3 rings on the thing.
Yeah,
they throw the rings, and if the first 3 people will go on to the next heat. So
where you shoot fireballs into a target.
Yeah, this
is fucking cool. Like, this is a challenge I would have wanted to do just so I could say that I've thrown a fireball. Like, that would have been so cool. But you know who slays this challenge, Lana?
Mark.
Chrissy and Mark.
Chrissy, though.
Chrissy!
Yes!
I was like, is this Chrissy's immunity win? Is this gonna be the challenge that Chrissy wins?
I wanted Chrissy to get to the second heat so bad. I was like, even if Chrissy didn't win the whole thing, I just needed Chrissy in the second heat so I could see Chrissy throwing fireballs at this pit.
Could you imagine?
That's what I wanted.
Oh my God, I would have been so happy.
That would have made me happy. But unfortunately, as quickly as Chrissy was killing the ring toss, she just couldn't get that last ring on the thing. And it was just like, oh, well. And so it came down to Mark, Josh, and Jordan, who was going to go into the next heat to throw their fireballs.
Yeah, because at the end of this heat, it ends up being Jordan, I think Dave was in on it, and Chrissy was in on it. So it was really like, who's going to get it first? Chrissy almost had it. Props to Chrissy for, I'm going to say, finally doing well in an immunity challenge. Sorry, girl.
She did win a reward challenge. But, whatever. But yeah, they did that. So then it came down to Mark, Josh, and Jordan. They were throwing these fireballs, just whipping these fireballs, just whipping it and whipping it. But in this heat, nobody stood a chance against Mark. Because Mark clearly, I think Mark threw 3 or 4 fireballs and he put 2 in there.
Because if you forgot, Lana, Mark was in the military.
Yeah.
Military precision.
Apparently, they throw fireballs in the military.
Australian military, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. But Mark wins and
gets whoop-de frickin' do.
He wins. Then Jonathan lets everybody know about Purgatory. There is Purgatory. That is where Shay and Jordy and KJ are. And one of you are going to join them in Purgatory.
Yep.
So Chrissy cannot say Purgatory. That was one of the funniest things I've ever seen on television.
One of the best moments of this season is Chrissy not being able to say the word purgatory. She says perjury. She says other words that don't necessarily start with P. I was like, girl, really?
We don't know how to say purgatory? It's not like it's the hardest word, but Chrissy was just like, what is it? Perjury? Filibuster?
Filibuster!
Palooza? Papa? I'm like,
RuPaul's Drag Race, Lollapalooza lip sync SmackDown?
I mean,
that just happened. Go check out our episode where we talk about it. It's somewhere on the channel.
But yes, but somebody finally included in the Purgatory. But the boring majority are debating between Dave and Michelle.
You talk about that boring majority. Mm-hmm.
They're boring. They're boring. There's nothing else to say. They're boring, and they're talking about who they want to do. Dave and Michelle. Josh and Jordan are still trying to debate whether they should take the shot at Sam. They honestly, I don't know what they're talking about because they were never going to take the shot at Sam. They are brainwashed. They are soldiers and they fall in line. When Mark says this is what we're doing, that's what they're doing. They fall in line. So that whole debate, what do we should do? What should we do? We should take a shot. We should maybe take a shot. I don't know. Should we take the shot? I think we should take the shot. We don't know. It was just a waste, but whatever. They decided that they were going to leave it and figure out what they should do. They didn't know. That's how they left us. They didn't know. So then we move on to Tribal Council.
Mm-hmm.
And Mark says the majority the majority.
Majority's gonna majority.
They're gonna do that. They're gonna do what they do. You know, why don't rock the boat if you don't have to. You know, the 6 is strong, stay 6 strong, blah, blah, blah.
And you know who keeps talking about this majority and not answering questions and getting on my last nerve again? Frickin' Dave. This man is not answering any questions. He's like, well, you know, there's threats and there's votes and someone's going home. And I'm just like, why are you still here? I mean, thank you because it's getting me points for my draft in which I'm currently in first place. But like,
well, I mean,
tomato. Anyway.
Chrissy is petrified of Purgatory. She doesn't want to go. She's like, that doesn't seem like something for me. Nope. Don't want to do it. Josh says Mark and Sam are targets.
What? They're targets?
But he ain't gonna do nothing about it, so I don't know why he brought it up. Whatever. They don't think they're gonna send their best to Purgatory. Why would they do that? That makes no sense, right?
Dave literally is talking as if Michelle isn't even here.
Yep.
And I'm like, bye.
It was just very poor taste, you know, for me to see how they talk to people like Michelle or anybody who is not.
How they talk to women.
I'm
going to go ahead and say it.
Mm-hmm. And so Michelle, of course, obviously thinks it's going to be her. And the way
and
they
guess
talk.
What, Lana?
It is. By a vote of 6-1. Michelle's the only one who could vote for herself. So everybody else voted for Michelle.
So Michelle ends up going to Purgatory with everybody else. Mm-hmm. And then they're like, oh my God, we have to stick together once we get back in the game. We don't know how many people are going back, but we have to stick together. Yada, 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 yada. And then they do this whole like slow motion glamour shoot. And I'm like, it is not this important, y'all. At the time, I was like, it is not this important. I'm like, everybody gets their own little close-up moment. This is the most Michelle has been on the season. And then we cut to the next day.
Wait.
Oh, go ahead.
Though you thought the glamour shot moments was not necessary, I will say the cinematography on this was amazing.
It always is. It was. If there's one thing Australian Survivor knows how to do, it is cinematography, and I will always praise them for their cinematography.
Their cinematography was amazing on this glamour shot photo shoot that they did. I was like, not the close-ups and then the person far back, and then the faces. It was great. It was great. I enjoyed it.
I'm like, it was unnecessary in the best possible way.
I enjoyed it. But, okay, moving on. So we get to the Purgatory Return Challenge. Everybody comes in, and the people from Purgatory walks in behind them, and then you hear Mark, they're behind us. Look, they're right behind us. Like, duh. Okay, whatever.
What? They're behind you? Gag,
whatever. So they had to balance balls on a pole
across some obstacles. Yeah,
right. And then they had to drop balls into these 3 chutes into buckets, but they had to add poles and stack them together. So the higher the pole got, the more wobbly it got.
Yep.
And then the first 3 to do that, 3. I counted 1, 2, 3. Will get to come back into the game.
At first, I was like, oh my God, this season is literally lasting 84 years. And then I was like, wait, I like all 4 of these people. And I'm very happy that 75% of them are coming back into the game.
Yes.
Like, so the way that they've done like Purgatory style things on past seasons is it's been like 2 people or 3 people. I don't think they've ever done 4 people in a Purgatory. And so, like, last season, it was 2 people, and then they competed to come back, and it was an endurance challenge. So that's what I was expecting going into this. I was expecting an endurance challenge of some kind. And this kind of was, but I really liked this challenge.
Yeah, I thought it was a good challenge. I thought it was a good challenge, and I thought it was a fair challenge for everybody who was participating, because I feel like everybody could have done well in this challenge. And so I was very happy that it was a challenge that everybody had the same opportunity to do well. Although for me, I knew who was coming back when the second they put those 4 up there and said 3 of them are coming back. I was like, whatever. But it was close.
She held her own.
It was close. It was close the entire way. Jordy finished first. Shay finished second. KJ finished third. And Michelle, unfortunately, was eliminated. And now the 4th member of our jury.
It was really close.
It was really close.
KJ
like
Michelle,
KJ almost lost it, and Michelle was right behind her. Like, they were really good. It was interesting to see who people were rooting on and who people were not rooting on for me. Although Jordy didn't need their rooting on, but nobody was rooting for Jordy. People were trying. Sam was trying to root for Shay, and for KJ. Nobody was really saying anything to Michelle either, which I was kind of like,
what I did appreciate though was, at least within the 4 people in the Purgatory, once Jordy like finished, he was helping everybody else at different points. And then once Shay finished, they were both helping both of them. And I really did appreciate that, because
I really think in that moment where they were in Purgatory, they really bonded and was like, whoever goes back, we're going to work together. And I think that would have been a bond that would have held through. And so I think that's what it showed, that they were willing to help, and it didn't matter who came back. Everybody was going to help everybody. So
yeah. So I'm sad to see Michelle go finally. I'm very happy she got 18 episodes. Like, I'm very happy that she got to live her superfan experience and get to what she made it to day 36. Like, that's
a lot.
More than most people have on American Survivor, except it's not 39 days anymore. But whatever. Michelle, I'm sorry that you didn't get as much airtime as you or your sister deserved.
No, exactly, because you deserve so much more. They both deserve so much more.
Yeah.
But
so
we move on.
We move
to episode 19. Shay, Jordy, and KJ are back from Purgatory, and Chrissy is mad about
it. She's like,
Chrissy's like,
you go through all of this strategy and backstabbing and lying, and then they're just back. And I'm like, yes, Chrissy, welcome to Survivor on day 37.
I have a question for Chrissy. What strategy did you do? Because literally all you did was do what Mark told you to do. You didn't strategize at all. Mark came up with the plan. Mark came over to you and said, this is what we're going to do. And you said, yep, that makes sense. And then you moved on with your day. You were pretty much done. Like, you were set with what you were going to do after Mark told you what to do. Like, come on, Chrissy. I love you. I love Chrissy so much. But strategy-wise, babes, you were not strategic. You were just a listener.
All she's done is help vote out the cook, and then has become the cook. Like, honestly, at this point, I don't want to put this into the universe, but it's already been filmed and done and whatever for probably a year at this point. Watch the final 3 be whoever's gonna win plus Dave and Chrissy, and they're both 0 vote finalists. Just, if that happens, honestly, whoever got to the end with the 3 of them, good for you. And I feel like we are on a trajectory. We'll talk about it, but I feel like we are on a trajectory to that happening.
Okay. So, yeah. So Chrissy jokes that Jordy is a guest.
This kind of pissed me off a little bit. She was like, oh, you're just a guest here. Like, your stay is going to be short. And I'm like, again, Chrissy, what have you done in this game?
Listen to Mark. That's literally all you did.
I want her to make it to the final tribal council, and I want someone to ask her, what's one game move that you made that wasn't influenced by anybody else and that you did for yourself? And I want to watch her not know what to answer. Like, I like Chrissy the person. I think she's one of the most entertaining characters I've seen on Survivor in a very long time. God, is she just not a good game player?
No, because she's made no moves on her own. Like, nothing, none. It was just, okay. Jordy is still pushing to Josh that Sam has this idol. Like, again, because Jordy tells Sam that she is basically his last option to work with. But
then in confessional is saying that he's going to continue to push the paranoia that Sam is experiencing.
Yeah, because Jordy knew there's no way in God's green earth he was going to work with Sam at all, like, ever. And so Sam once again mentions to the threat of being a couple with 2 idols.
Because we're a couple and we have 2 idols. Who allowed us to have this much power? I don't know. And I'm like, shut the fuck up. Honestly, I'm like, bye. I hate everyone on this season except for KJ and Shay. Honestly.
It was just crazy. It was insane. But then, because I really want to move on to this next part.
Please, yes.
The auction happened. I love a good Survivor auction. I miss that Survivor US does not do auctions like they used to. I miss a good Survivor auction.
You're in luck because Australia does it almost every season. You know who does do it every season? South Africa.
Good. I love a good auction at Survivor because I feel like this is the time everybody gets to. What I don't like about this auction in Survivor Australia, I see you and I don't like it. I don't like if somebody wagers on something and they lose it, they lose their money. I don't like that at all.
I agree.
I hate that because I don't think it's fair, and it won't happen in any real auction. If you bid and you get outbid, you just don't pay nothing. You just
we'll talk about
We'll talk about that because I don't like it.
I
don't like it. So let's start from the beginning because the first thing that comes out is a meat pie. And I'm like, oh, that looks tempting, yummy. If I was on an island for 30-something days and haven't eaten anything but rice and beans or whatever, I would want a meat pie too.
Very squished and not well cooked beans,
right?
Just some crunchy ass rice,
yeah.
Well, and that feels very Australian. Like all of these things felt very Australian. On past seasons, there's been like the concept of what is it called? A Mexican parma. It's like a thing that exists. It's like a Mexican chicken parmesan.
Okay.
I've tried making it. It's real good. It's basically chicken parm, and then you put like salsa on top of it. But like, it's so good. But they didn't have one in this auction.
But Chrissy spends $100 for a meat pie, and she is tearing that thing down. She looks like she's enjoying it. Good for her.
She's the only one that bid on it, right?
Yeah, nobody else bid on it. So
I was like, okay,
nobody. Okay, yeah. So then. After the meat pie, everybody's like, oh, we should have bid on it. We're going to bid on it. Yeah. And so then the next one comes up. And before Jonathan could really say anything, it was like, Jordan says, $500.
Well, there was a little bit of like back and forth. I think KJ was in it. Someone else was in it. And Jordan's like, nah, 500. I want it.
I want it. And it goes $500 for some chicken parm.
Same, honestly. Yeah.
I mean, I would have did it too. It's not my money. I don't care. It's good.
Exactly.
I would have did it too. Josh and Dave goes for the burger. Josh then retracts.
And then he knows how this works.
Yes, he knows if he doesn't, he loses his money. And so Dave gets this burger looked amazing. I have to say,
I want a burger now.
I wanted that burger. I was like, I would have paid $500 for that burger because that burger looked. It looks scrumptious. And he was like, telling everybody it was bacon all in there and cheese and everything. That bacon looked delicious.
I love a good burger.
I do too. I mean, you give me a good burger any day, I will take it.
I want to ask, what's the one thing that, like, if you saw at a Survivor auction, you'd be like, no question, $500? Like, what's your ideal food item or, like, thing? It doesn't even have to be food.
I mean, I would have did for, like, pasta or pizza. Give me a pizza. Look, I'm eating pizza and pasta today because that's my go-to things. That's what I love. But if they put a pizza out, I'm going for it because you get full off of that meat, that bread, that sauce, that cheese. Oh, yes. After 30 something days. Yeah.
Honestly, and jumping ahead for a hot second, Shay ends up getting a pizza and a glass of red wine. And I was like, yes, absolutely.
Absolutely.
That probably would have been me. I also love a good, I probably would have gone for like pasta too, the burger. Even like a good like salad, I feel like I probably would have gone for maybe not 500, maybe like 100, but.
So then the next is a covered item that comes out. Jordy goes for it, and then Sam forces Mark to also go all in for
Sam's like, do it. Because the entire time, Sam is so preoccupied with an advantage because like. On Australian Survivor auctions, there's always like there's always an advantage that is like revealed to the group. Like this is an advantage in the game, and it's like revealed to the group, and people can bet on it, whatever. They don't do it this time. We'll talk about why.
They don't.
But she's so preoccupied with this that she's like, Mark, like, screw the food. Like, go for this.
Right. And only because they don't want George to get whatever it is. And it ends up being, they draw rocks. And Mark draws the rocks. And Mark whips the rock. And it's a steak. And Sam's reaction.
This is where I fully said, nope, not anymore. I'm done. I was like,
it was just like
this visceral reaction, arms in the air, very visibly excited. I'm like, you are a spiteful woman, and I cannot.
I mean, somebody took away food from someone who has not eaten like you.
And who was on Purgatory for like 5 or 6 days.
And you could just, because you don't know what's under there. And then you're like, yay! That's so disgusting. It was very spiteful and very rude. And I didn't like it. I didn't like it either. But then we did talk about Shay spent $300 for some pizza and wine, which I would have done too. So good for you, Shay.
I honestly, pizza and red wine together, a phenomenal combination.
And then Karma comes around and bites Sam right in her rude little arse. Because she goes all in for this covered dish and wins $500. She wins this covered dish. And it is Vegemite toast.
One slice of Vegemite toast.
And she's just sitting there eating it like,
oh, I loved every moment of it.
I loved every second of that. I was like, that is what you get for being so spiteful and so rude and so disrespectful when you really didn't have to be. Karma came right and bit her fast. So then KJ wins a cup of tea. It was a picture of tea. It was a tea, whole tea setup, but it was really just a cup of tea. And she gets her picture, her cup of tea, and slightly hidden right underneath the teapot is the advantage that Sam was foaming at the mouth to get.
Yay!
But KJ gets it.
Thank God.
I think it was $250 she spent.
$250 or $3, I think it was.
But it was the most expensive cup of tea she's ever had. But it was so worth it because KJ got an advantage in the game. Mm-hmm. And then we move on to Shay. The last item up for bid. And Shay wins it. And it's a letter from home.
Oh.
Now, this is where I was like, ugh. Yeah. And then I was tearing up and then I was upset. But let's start with the tearing up part. Shay wins the letter from home. Then they give her the choice of either keeping her letter or giving her letter back and letting everyone else get their letter.
Yeah.
And Shay decides to give everybody else their letters. Yeah. She said because it would be rude, it would not be cute, would not be cool to be the only one happy getting a letter when 8 people could get their letters and she could just share in their joy and their happiness and be happy. And I thought that was just so heartwarming, so endearing. Just show me why I love Shay so much. And then not only was it just so sweet, but it was also so smart, and it bought Shay some time in this game.
And that's exactly, like, I would do the exact same thing in that situation. Because, like, let's be honest, I'm not close to a lot of my family. So, like, my letter, let's be honest, if I were to go on Survivor right now, my letter would probably be from Lana. Let's be real honest here. It'd probably be from Lana or, like, one of my other friends.
Or somebody.
Exactly. And as much as I would love to have that, like, I would know I'd probably be in the game with, like, parents who are concerned about their kids. And, like, I don't need my letter that much. Like, that's never something that, like, I would ever honestly bid on in an auction. Like, honestly, my focus would be more like advantage or food. Because I just don't necessarily need it. But, like, absolutely. And I think as well, knowing that there are, 5 parents in this bunch, because it's Mark and Sam, obviously. KJ has kids. Dave has, obviously, Brianna. And then I feel like someone else has we'll talk about that shortly.
No, it's just the 4 who has kids.
Oh, Chrissy.
Oh, Chrissy has kids. Yeah, 5.
I was like, there are
There's
5 parents.
Yeah, so 5 parents. Yeah. Well,
and then
but wait! Don't jump the gun! Don't jump the gun, because you give away too much too fast all the time. All the time you do.
It's literally the next segment.
But wait, it's still some things to talk about. Okay. So when Shay, after she decides to give the letters, me personally, I was like, I see why she did what she did. I would have wanted to be a little selfish in that moment. But like you, I don't have kids or anything that I have to worry about. The people who probably be sending me letters be my sisters. And I would just be worried about if, only thing I'm more concerned about is how's Kennedy doing? How's the boys? Right. Just little stuff. Nothing that it would just make me, have to have my letter. So I get what she's doing. So yes, now we'll jump on, because I want to get my little part in too. Sorry. Everybody's get their letters. They get back to camp and they get to start reading their letters, and everybody's reading. It's so cute. Everybody's crying because Sam and Mark find out that their son is doing well and that he's growing, and they sent pictures, and everybody's very happy for them that he gets to see that he's coping well with them both being gone, because that's a hard thing for a baby, a toddler, to not have both your parents gone for a long period of time when you're so used to being there with them all the time.
At this point, probably like almost a month, thinking about like quarantine time and all that. At that point, it's probably like 2 months.
2 months. So that's a lot for a 2-year-old or 3-year-old. I think he is
3. I think
it's 3. And so so they find out that he's growing. He's coping well. Sam's mom telling him he's doing well. He's he misses you obviously, but he's doing well. And then we hear that Jordy gets a message from his dad. His dad tells him he's okay. Yeah. He's fine, which he found out in the video message that his dad is doing fine. They lost their stepmother right before Jordy and Jesse had to come to Survivor. And so they never did get a chance to really grieve through it with their dad. And so he was very concerned about how his dad was doing by himself, because usually it's either Jordy or Jesse there with him. And so to have both of them gone, he was really concerned about how they were doing. Jordan heard from his brother, and who he also saw in the video. And so he's doing good. KJ got her kids are doing well. They're rooting for her. They don't want her to come home too soon, but they're very proud of her. Chrissy's kids are doing wonderful. They're excited that she made it thus far. Dave's folks are happy and they're doing well. Great.
We didn't talk about it as well when Jordy went on the reward for the Isuzu. I just love that Brianna was fully in Dave's video. Like, that's how long it's been. It's like, oh, she's fully like home. She's settled out of quarantine. And I was like, oh, Brianna.
I was like, who's that? Oh, I do kind of remember your face.
Remember when she tanked her game?
Yep. Yeah. Very first, second week. Bye, girl. Okay. Yeah. But yeah. So then we get to Josh. And Josh opens his letter. And the first thing he pulls out of his letter is a sonogram. His girlfriend is going to have a baby that they've been working on for a while now. And to come to find out they were doing in vitro and she got pregnant before the in vitro was even needed. She was pregnant before, and they found out she was pregnant right after he left. And so Josh is going to be a dad. So he's crying. Everybody's happy and crying. It was such a great TV family moment.
Yeah.
I cried. I'm not even going to lie.
I definitely got very emotional. And like, I don't love Josh as like a character on the show, but I have to be happy for him. His girlfriend, I think her name is Sage or something, stunning.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. But like, I'm not all that surprised because he's hot.
She's hot.
Sure. But I was like, so congrats to Josh.
Yes, it was such a beautiful moment, and I'm very happy that Shay was able to share that and have that, and it bought her time in this game, because I honestly feel like if they didn't have what they had, then she would be on the chopping block next. But yeah, it was just such a great TV moment. Kudos to Survivor Australia for doing that and showing that and having those moments. That sonogram moment was it. That was just like, submit that to your Emmys, because I think you win with that.
Right.
That was
whatever the Australian Television Awards are, do it.
Submit that moment, because that was a great moment. So then we find out about KJ's advantage, what that all entails. And it was she gets to choose 3 tribe mates to return to camp before the vote. And it must be played in one of the next 2 tribals. I was like, wow.
Wild. So, this is not the first time Australian Survivor has done a twist like this, but I don't think it's ever been done in the jury portion, which I like a lot better. So last season, you'll see it when you get to watching Brains versus Brawn. Episode 1, they drop this twist.
Oh no, that's too early.
And on a tribe of 12, the person who got it sent 6 of their tribe members back to camp.
Wow.
It really, it was a gag-worthy way to start, but I hated it.
I would hate it.
You'll see why. I won't spoil if you've watched the season, then you know. But it just, Okay. So I liked the way that this twist played out a lot better.
I think they learned from last season to know not to put it that early. I just don't think that twist is a twist you put first tribal. You just don't. I don't think so. But yeah, it was interesting to see that twist. And I've never watched Survivor Australia before, so I didn't know anything about this whole twist of twists. But that was a very wow, made me gag a little bit. I was like,
I was excited to see your response, because I had seen it before and I knew you hadn't. And I was like, some of the things that happened in this set of 4 episodes was really like, okay.
I was very like, oh, what a good twist. And my initial thought right off the top was like, the 3 of them need to just leave and let them vote it out. That was my initial. That was what I thought. But then I was like, but let me think about, after thinking on it and resting on it, the outcome would have been exactly what I would have did. But
in the words of icon Hannah Chada, that's a good twist.
That's a good twist.
A good twist.
I love it. But so we move on to the immunity challenge. Yes. Well, they have to swim to shore with these obstacles, grappling.
You gotta go under a thing and then over a thing.
A lot of,
and then grappling hook.
Right. We love a grappling hook, don't we, on Survivor Australia? Because
I'm surprisingly very good with a grappling hook. Fun fact. So this would have been my challenge, I think. Probably not, but
I mean, you have to grab the puzzle pieces and put the puzzle together.
Yeah.
This puzzle had to balance out 3 stories, and you have to balance out, and all these different little pegs had little different shapes, and not shapes, but different sizes of the beam, and so you had to make sure you could put it together where everything was equal on each side, and you had to get the first level done properly before you can move on to the second, of course, because if you didn't, it'd fall over.
I'm pretty sure, and someone correct me if I'm wrong, again, as I talk about with our Australian and our American Survivor coverage, not a Survivor encyclopedia. However, I want to say that the first time I remember this puzzle being used was on Survivor Co. Wrong, because I'm pretty sure this was the final immunity challenge puzzle. And I'm pretty sure I remember Michelle winning the challenge and then like roundhouse kicking this puzzle down. I think. Maybe. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. But this is a puzzle we've seen a few times, but it's not a very common puzzle. And so I love bringing it into this season. Because this is kind of like a very equalizing puzzle. Like it's not like, it's very trial and error. It's very like anyone, as we saw with who won the challenge, anyone could win this puzzle.
Yeah, you just have to be very patient and figure out what goes where, and it's definitely not an easy puzzle, which I was like, yeah, this isn't easy, but yeah. Jordan and Sam, they have problems getting the puzzle. They can't even grab the puzzle and bring it to them. They were struggling.
Did Sam hard. Ever get the puzzle pieces? I don't think she did.
I don't think she did. I don't think Sam even got close to getting the puzzle pieces.
I know Jordan did, because they had a shot of him in his Speedo. Remember a few weeks ago where I was like, whose Speedo is that?
Yeah, Jordan. It's always Jordan. It's always Jordan in the Speedo. So they start. Josh gets to level 2 first. And Shay and Dave are close, but they're not getting that second level done. Yeah. They're really getting stuck on the second level. The first level was pretty easy for Dave. And I thought at that moment, I was like, this might be the challenge Dave wins.
Is this Dave's immunity
challenge? Because he breezed through the first one so easy. But that second one tripped him up. It tripped Shay up. But the winner of the immunity challenge was Josh. He pulled it out in the end.
I did love Chrissy's commentary during the whole challenge, because like every 30 seconds or so, it would cut to Chrissy being like, what? Huh?
And Jordy,
I don't get that. Yeah, Jordy was like, no. I did love, though, and I pointed it out in my notes, when JLP is like explaining the challenge, and they do like the montage of like the PAs doing the challenge. They get to the puzzle part, and it's very clearly ADR'd. Like his voice is just completely different, and then come to find out it's literally the exact portion from the actual challenge later on when they get to the puzzle. They just like copied and pasted.
Like, let's move it over.
I love when you can very clearly hear the ADR, and they're not even like trying to cover the fact that it's ADR. They're like, oh, it's whatever. But I thought that was funny. But yeah, Josh wins another immunity challenge.
Yeah. So we get back to camp, and Sam is like, Josh has the idol, so everyone else can go home tonight. Because the
what?
Yeah.
Huh? What? That's a thing?
That's what we do.
Girl, we know that everybody else could go home.
So dumb.
And I know that the confessional people are making you say this, but it's just stupid. Like, y'all should know how Survivor works. We're on episode 19, for God's sake. Everyone should know how this works.
Yes, somebody's gonna go home. Everybody who doesn't have the idol is not safe. What? This is how this game works? Okay, whatever. But the boring majority, as we like to call them now, they're boring. They're gonna vote out Jordy. And Mark calls Jordy damaged goods. Okay. So here's where my confusion, because I've been a Mark fan. I've liked
Yes.
Mark from the beginning.
Uh-huh.
I still like Mark, but
Okay.
I'm slowly like getting more and more annoyed with Mark because Mark makes stupid statements and dumb things. Like Mark
Mhm.
said something and I was like, "What?" He says we can't let these second chancers win this game, come back in and win. And I was like, bruh, your whole game is about second chance.
Sorry, Mark.
You are a second chancer. What?
I just Mark has gotten to the point. Mark the character. I assume that Mark the person outside of Survivor is probably a lovely individual. Mark the character on this episode specifically of Australian Survivor, Blood versus Water, has become too damn chauvinistic for me, and I just can't. This is the moment. Mark and Sam, I'm done with both. I'm like, I'm good. Honest to God, in reality, the only two people I'm actively rooting for anymore are Shay and KJ.
Yeah.
Like, that's honestly it, because everybody else just infuriates me in one way or another. We'll talk about Jordy. There's a reason I didn't put Jordy on that list. We'll talk about Jordy when we get to the next damn episode, because anyway.
Well, yeah. Jordy. Yeah, but their damage goods. So Jordy, KJ, and Shay, they're committed to voting out Sam. That is what they're gonna do. They just want to get one more person or two people, however many people they can get to go along with that plan.
Right.
And Jordy tells Josh and Jordan that tonight is the only time they can vote out Sam. Jordy is giving them the correct information. Everything he is saying is factuals, actual factuals. And you know what they do? They ignore him. They don't listen.
Well,
They're
he
not doing it.
goes so far as to suggest a 4-4-1 split where they put 4 votes on Sam and 4 votes on him.
Mm-hmm.
And then a vote on like KJ or Shay or somebody. But like, they are literally like, he's suggesting this plan where if Sam plays her idol, he goes home.
Yeah, and he knows this, and he's willing to do it. So that is the one thing I'm like, why would anybody who is lying about an idol put their own game at risk just to prove a point? Gotta be some facts in that. Why would I suggest the 4-4-1 split if I was lying about an idol? Because that's putting me in jeopardy.
And you know what happens, Lana? Jordy or all the fucking J's. Josh and Jordan are like, maybe we should take a shot at Mark and Sam, but I don't think it's the right time. I'm like, God, help us all. Like, I
can't. I just want to punch every one of them. Just punch them. Like, get some sense in your head. Nobody makes a plan to put their own life on the line in the game if they're lying about an idol. God, who does that? Nobody. But it's never the time. It's never the time. It's never the time. It's never the time. Sam and Mark debate on not bringing the idols and leaving them behind in case one of them gets voted out. Because if one of them gets voted out, 2 of them will have the idol.
I will say, okay, mm-hmm. I am not Team Sam or Mark at this point, but if I were in their shoes, this is a very logical plan.
I mean, it's very logical.
I didn't dislike the plan. I was like, this is smart. Just like contingency plan. If one of us does get voted out, like the other one has 2 idols, we're chilling.
Right.
We'll talk about that further later on. But like, I thought that was pretty logical. One of the most logical things they've done all season.
It was. So then the minority. Hold on, I can't see. Go ahead, read that.
So the minority being Jordy, KJ, and Shay, they're concerned that like Josh and Jordan want to target Sam and Mark, but like perhaps maybe they want Jordy out first because Jordy is this. I mean, he is a big threat, but like, is Jordy a bigger threat than Sam and Mark? No,
not at
like
all.
it just doesn't make sense. And then we also see a conversation right before Tribal with KJ, Shay, and Sam, where KJ and Shay at this point are like, well, maybe we should just, go with the majority, vote out Jordy. But they're going to Sam, like, if we vote with y'all, are we not going to be the next 2 votes?
Right.
Again.
Right.
This has literally already happened where Shay was voted out and then Jordy was voted out and then KJ was voted out. Are we going to do this again? And Sam is like, well, no, like the game is fluid. Like anything could happen. We have to keep our options open. And KJ is like, maybe I need to play this advantage. I'm not feeling too comfortable with this conversation.
Mm-hmm. And I would not have felt comfortable with that conversation. I would, because if the game had been fluid all the way up until this point, so what makes me think is going to change now?
Fluid meaning a majority of 6 people in which there are 2 couples and then Dave and Chrissy.
Right.
That's fluid.
I think not. Let's move on because we're doing really good now. We get to Tribal Council and Josh says, there's unfinished business with sending Jordy home.
But only Jordy, apparently.
Just Jordy. The cockiness and the arrogance for me is very disgusting. It's just, but
it's to be expected, but like, tomato.
Right.
What we love, though.
What we do love.
Our girl KJ is like, well, if there's unfinished business, I think I might have some as well. She doesn't say that, but like basically what she's saying. And she pulls out her advantage and she gives it to Jonathan, and Jonathan reads it, and KJ has to pick 3 people to go back to camp. And I think, honestly, she picks the perfect 3 people.
Oh, definitely.
She picks Chrissy because she knows Chrissy is not on her side because she is blindly following every single word that comes out of Mark's mouth.
Yep.
She sends Mark back because Mark is the linchpin. And she sends back Josh because Josh is his right hand. And so we are left with the minority of KJ, Shay, and Jordy. And we're left with Sam, Jordan, and Dave. And every single dramatic cut to Sam's face in this moment was priceless. They had to use an extra camera probably to get the...
When I tell you, she probably shot herself a little bit.
I laughed through this entire segment.
I screamed. I literally screamed watching.
Did you watch this episode with other people?
Did I?
I hope you did.
I think I did.
Ooh,
I think this was one of the ones I did. What was it? Oh no, I did, because I was like, "Oh my god!" Gooped, gagged. Did watch it with other people. That was crazy, and I literally screamed, and it was because that was the moment I woke up at 3:30 in the morning, and it was a going into Sunday, and I was like, I shouldn't be doing this because I got to get up in the morning and go to church, and I was so exhausted, and I woke up because I told Derek that I would, and I got up. And I was like contemplating on not staying up. I was like, I think I'm just gonna go back to sleep. And then I was like, it's okay. I'll just watch this episode and be able to fall right back asleep. No, I did not. Because no ma'am, no sir, no I was so gagged and so woke, like, oh my gosh! I could not go to sleep. I think it took me 2 hours to go back to sleep after this episode. It took me 2 hours to go back to sleep after this episode. It was crazy. But yeah, Sam's face was priceless. Priceless. And everybody, it's just, oh my gosh. It
and
was.
And then KJ makes a comment where she's like, I guess I am a threat after, or something along the lines of like, I guess I'm a threat after all. Everyone seems to think my game is translucent. And I was like, get it, queen.
What she said that made me just like, she's like, I guess we're the majority and the minority. I was like, oh, you are the majority of the minority. And then they would quickly was like, and so when Johnson asked why she did what she did, she was like, I feel like Dave would have been the one. If we would have all been gone, if the three of us would have left, because I could have did just the three of us, Dave would have been the vote. And we didn't want that to happen. And I was like, facts. Those are true facts. Dave would have been the one.
Oh, absolutely.
100% Dave would have been the one. And so Sam goes into Sam crazy mode and tries to bluff. KJ, Jordan, and Shay says she has the idol. Mark left something behind for me, and I will play it for myself.
This whole series of events was wild. She goes to KJ and she's like, Mark gave me his idol. Want to make a move? Like whispering to KJ. And then KJ out loud is like, no, I'm okay with my plan.
Okay with my plan.
She goes to Jordy and she's like, I have Mark's idol. Want to do something? Want to make a plan?
No, she says she does not tell Jordan she has Mark's idol. She says I have the idol. And Jordan's like, oh, the idol? So is that an admission that you have an idol? That you have your own idol?
And then in the middle of her trying to talk to Shay.
She's like, no. I said Mark's idol. He was like, no. You said you have the idol. And he was like, I meant Mark's idol. Ugh.
And then she tries to go to Shay with the exact same pitch. And Shay's like, we'll see what happens. And I'm like, oh my God, Sam is about to get voted out because we know she doesn't have an idol. We know she doesn't have it. Oh my God. And then it was even better than I could have imagined. Because then
the vote happens. And it's
Jordan goes home. And I'm like, what?
No. So I was like, what? But then I was like, oh, that makes perfect sense to me. I was like, the plan was always Jordan.
Yep.
They just wanted Sam to freak the freak out and play the dang idol.
It truly gagged me because normally Survivor like clues us in on that. We had no clue.
No clue.
No prior knowledge. And I was like, whatsoever. And I was sad to see him go because he's the hottest of all the hot guys that are.
I mean, I wasn't sad to see him go because Jordan's an idiot. I'm just saying.
I don't like particularly like him, but like he's nice to look at.
I mean, look, we've looked at him enough. I wasn't sad.
Yeah,
I've seen him enough. Fine. I've seen that green and yellow Speedo enough. He can go. He was just because we're getting down to the part, and he was just wasting space for me, and it was just like, ugh. So I was not sad to see Jordan go. I was very happy to see Jordan go.
I was happy from a game perspective, just from a shallowness perspective. I was like, well. It's just Josh, I guess.
Yep. So, Jordan is gone. So, we get back to going on to episode 20. We get back to Tribal Council. I mean, we get back from Tribal Council and get to the camp. And everyone's like, oh my God. Who is it?
Who is it?
Oh my God. It's Jordan. And Josh is like, what?
Josh throws the biggest hissy fit I have ever seen on Survivor. And he's like butthurt. He's like, well, oh my God, how did this happen to us? Like, I don't like he's just like
pissed. The majority
like y'all haven't been doing this the whole damn season.
Right. I'm like, they played your game and you lost. That's they were so bad. Josh was pissed. The majority was pissed. And everybody's just pissed. So we go to day 40. Then Jordy says something, and I was like, boy, stop, because you didn't. Talking about he's happy he got KJ out of her shell. I'm like, KJ has always been playing the game, but KJ has never been in a position where she could do anything up until this point. And so that's not her being in her shell. That is just her playing the cards that's dealt to her at that point in this moment in time.
She's been playing since the moment she got on a tribe with her sister
and
had to do damage control for her sister.
Exactly. I'm like, don't try to take credit for KJ's game. You didn't get her out of her shell. What you did and what Purgatory did is really what Purgatory did. Purgatory just lit that fire under her butt that she needed. And then getting that advantage helped her actually show the kind of skills and strategy that she knows how to play this game. Because she could have easily went with her gut of, let the three of us leave and we safe. But she realized that wasn't going to do anything. And Jordy acted like he knew about this advantage. She had no clue about this advantage. KJ never told them about the advantage. So he didn't know she was going to pull that move. So no, Jordy, no, that wasn't your move. And you didn't bring her out of her shell. That just never happened. So don't try to mansplain your way into this woman's moves. Sorry. Moving along. Chrissy thought Jonathan meant that 3 people were being eliminated when they told them to go back to camp. Even though that would have been sick.
Could you imagine?
Could you imagine KJ's advantage is sending 3 people out the door? The overpower of that advantage.
But honestly, I would have been fine with it.
I would have been fine with it, especially because it landed in KJ's hands. But it was crazy. But Jordy knows how Josh feels, and he needs to capitalize on this moment to target Sam because
he's still building his army against Sam.
Yeah. And Sam, then we get a Sam confessional where I was just like rolling my eyes. Well, Sam did a double degree in performing arts and law. So I know how to act, acting 101. And I was like, girl, bye. Oh my God. It's at this point, like we said, just over Sam. Everything Sam says to me, I'm just like, whatever.
Like I said earlier, honestly, the only 2 people I'm actively rooting for are KJ and Shay.
Right.
That's...
So, Josh is just as pissed today as he was last night when he found out that Jordan was gone. He's still mad, still seething, brooding even. He's so mad.
He was like, maybe if he was like, I thought maybe if I slept on it, maybe I wouldn't feel as intense about it today. No, I feel even more intense. And I'm y'all haven't been doing that this whole damn season. Hello? You were invisible in this edit until halfway through the season, sir.
Right. Seriously. But then, shocker for me, I'm sure for you, Chrissy.
Day 40, Chrissy has decided to play Survivor.
What? She goes to Josh and said, we need to flush that idol from Sam and Mark.
Yay!
We still vote for Jordy, but we need to flush the idol from Sam and Mark because they have an idol. She still feels it's only one idol. One idol.
Well, no, that was Josh's counter plan. All she did, I think, was go to Josh and be like, we need to get Sam out or get this idol out. And Josh was like, well, we can flush the idol and still vote Jordy out, but we could flush the idol. And I'm like, what?
They just want the idol. They don't really mind Sam and Mark being there. They just want the idol not to be there and have that kind of power over them. But
I just.
Right. So this immunity challenge, I want to talk about this immunity challenge.
Okay.
I found this immunity challenge very interesting. I've never seen it done like this before.
Same.
And so I found it interesting. So what it was is you had to roll a ball up a plank, up a little thing, and then you had to set these domino pieces up on this row, and you had to catch your ball before it hits the dominoes and knocks everything down. And so I found that to be a very interesting twist on, like, we've seen dominoes. We've seen balls have to roll up a hill and then catching it before. You know, we've seen stuff in that variation before, but I've never seen them put together like that. So I found this challenge. I was like, this challenge is very interesting. I would suck at it because the minute that ball, I would always get like 3, 4, maybe 5 or 6 domino pieces up, and then bloop, 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 bloop. It's just falling because I would miss that ball coming down. But it takes a lot of, precision to roll it up and make sure you have enough time to go grab pieces and set them up before, it comes back down. And so that was an interesting challenge for me to watch.
Yeah, and we see a lot of different strategies at play where we see, I think it was Chrissy specifically, was setting up from both ends. She wasn't going the fastest, and everyone kind of dropped at one point or the other, but she was setting up from both ends, so she was getting like the close end to where the dominoes were, and the far end as well. Like she was doing a little bit of both, which I thought was really good.
I would have did from the back. I would have thought the best is to start from the back because if the ball does roll down, it won't hit it.
Yeah.
That would have been mine.
I think what I probably would have done in this challenge is just as quickly as I can get all of the blocks onto your board.
Did they have to be standing up?
I think so. So don't even section them off. Just literally right next to each other, and then from there it's a shorter distance to where you can roll it and then place them and take a little bit more time doing that. That's probably how I would have approached the challenge. It's just get all of them on there as quickly as you can, and then you can sort of organize and see what's going to be best.
Right. Makes sense. It was close though, but it was close. The domino chain, it was just definitely close between Josh, Mark, and Jordy. They were pretty much even a lot of the way. All of them having a stumble with, the ball hitting the blocks and knocking them over, and they had to start over and then, reset it. Yeah. But it was very close throughout. But in the end, the winner was Mark.
I thought Mark had a very good rhythm going with the whole challenge. Like it took him a little bit. It took everybody a little bit, but he really truly got into the rhythm of boom, run, place, catch, roll, all of that.
Right.
I thought,
and I think he had the strength to roll the ball all the way up to the top of that ramp, so it can give him that time to run and grab and put him, and before he can grab, And so I think that also helped. He just found, like you say, his rhythm much faster than everybody else.
I maybe also would have taken a few rolls at the start, if your blocks fall over, whatever. But I maybe would have taken a few moments to test that part out and just see, okay, how much power do I need to be putting into this ball roll so that way we get the maximum amount of time possible. I definitely would have taken a little bit of time doing that as well. But yeah, Mark, I thought absolutely great job.
Yeah, Mark did it. And so after Mark has 3 idols in his possession at this moment in time. Mark has all the power. Mark is the man he even goes on to say he needs to build a case for all of his idols because he has all of them. Every idol. And then, like I said, he called the other alliance a second chance alliance. But I'm like, bruh, your whole game is about second chance. I don't understand how you can dog somebody. We don't want somebody from a second chance alliance win. You are a second chance. This is your game. It's for a second chance. But
literally your second time on Survivor. But okay, go off. King.
All right, go off. We move. Whatever. So then, this moment right here. Is what I said, Dave, you just stepped up a little bit in my rankings for you, my boy. You stepped up, my man, because I don't understand for the life of me why Jordy did not tell Josh what happened at Tribal.
Right?
Like, that's the first thing he should have did that morning, was explain to Josh what happened at Tribal, so Josh could have all that time to simmer and fester and wonder, like, Sam did what? I think that could have been the fire he needed to maybe even win that immunity challenge, to know that Sam played Jordan and threw him completely under the bus. But whatever. Dave is like, oh, I'm going to tell it all. And I'm going to tell you what happened. Dave was like the cup. He spilled all the tea to Josh. And Josh was like, what? He was like, yes, Sammy went around and told everybody she got this idol and she was going to use it for herself. So ain't no point in writing her name down, blah, blah, blah. She did it to everybody. And then after we voted out Jordan, because everybody was scared of the idol play, she revealed she didn't even bring the idol. She didn't have it.
I kind of agree with you. I was like, Dave, welcome to Survivor. Like, thank you. This truly, like, I'm not Team Dave. A lot of what he does annoys me, but like, he notched up a few places over. I'd maybe say he's like fourth in my rankings, I think.
I feel like as gameplay, this was one of the smartest gameplays that Dave has done in this game.
Agreed.
And so, yeah, because like you need to save yourself as well, because you know you are at the bottom and of both alliances, honestly.
Well, and the thing is, like, Sam going around to KJ and Jordy and Shay at the last tribal council, if she was serious about making a move, was the move against Jordan or was the move against Dave? Because clearly she knows that the three of them are together. So, like, who is this move going to be against? I'd like to think it was maybe against Jordan. Because we don't ever hear a name out of Sam, but...
No. I feel like she didn't care if it was going to be Jordan or Dave. Like, she did not care. She just knew she didn't need it to be her. Yeah. And so in that moment, and I think that's where it clicked to Dave, like,
I'm expendable now.
Right, because you, number one, you didn't even come to me. No. You went to Jordan. I mean, you went to Shay, to KJ, and to Jordy. You didn't even come to me.
Or Jordan.
So you were leaving us out there to dry. Okay. So
Thank you, Day 40. Dave, thank you for finally coming to play Survivor. Like,
exactly.
Appreciate ya.
Right. So everybody is like, yep, the majority is going to put their votes on Jordy, blah, blah, blah. So we get to tribal council, because this is where the magic happens, people. This is where the excitement happened in my eyes. And looking at you, you're very much gooped and gagged. I will let you.
Gooped, gagged, betwiddled, all of it. Okay. So, Josh is once again reiterating that without the immunity necklace, anyone could go home. What? It's as if we didn't know how Survivor worked on episode 20.
Day 40.
It's like, okay, I understand that, like, a lot of this is, like, fed to them and they have to say it, whatever. But, like, it's if you're joining this season on episode 20, there's a problem and you need to go back and watch the rest of the season, because it's been pretty good overall. Anyway, Josh is talking about how Jordan was voted out, and he says, oh, they had taken control. The minority had taken control from them, but now it's our time to take control back. And it's like, bye. And Dave has finally come around, and Dave finally sees that Sam is the liar in this situation. And I have to say, I don't love Sam, but one of my favorite moments of this episode, Sam leans over to her four that she has now, her, Mark, Chrissy, and Jordan. And she leans over, she's like, I don't think Dave is with us. I died. It was so funny, because no, Dave isn't with you. And then we got people are having conversations, and then there are these whisper conversations. There's this game of telephone happening between Dave, Chrissy, and Josh, where Chrissy goes to Dave and is like, do you want to make a move at Sam, or do you want to just take out her idol? Because Josh had asked Chrissy if Dave wanted, like, what was Dave's intention. So there's this whole game of telephone. Chrissy comes back to Josh and says, oh no, he wants to take out Sam. And he's like, and then there's a lot of talk about Josh being as far away from the minority for the Purgatory. Is that what they were calling themselves?
I don't know.
Something like that. The people we like and Dave. that part. And then Josh tries to have this like all-seeing eye moment where he's like, you just have to take what you're given and do whatever is possible to just, make it through. And I'm like, just whatever. But we get to the vote, Lana. We get to the vote. And then the vote happens. And then Jonathan asks for any idols. And Josh looks Mark dead in the eye and tells him to play the idol for Sam. And
wait, could I be Mark?
Yes.
Why?
Play the idol on Sam.
Why?
Play the idol on Sam.
Trust me.
Trust me. Play the idol on Sam.
But why?
Play the idol on Sam.
Why?
Play it. Just trust me. Play the idol on Sam.
But
and
why?
Then Jonathan is like, all right, I'll read the votes. And I was like, is it going to happen? And then there's so many cuts to Jesse. And there's so many cuts to Shay and Jordy. And everything happens. And it's a 5-3 vote. And Sam is gone! Yes!
I screamed. I screamed. And I screamed again. It was brilliant.
Perfect.
It was brilliant.
Brilliant. Honestly, the move from Josh, again, don't love Josh. The move from Josh, had it actually happened, it was a win-win for him. Because either Sam was going home or Jordy was going home. Because he is the one that flipped, but literally was like,
I'm trying to tell you.
And then, if Jordy had been voted out, how much do you want to bet he was going to blame that vote on Chrissy? And how much do you want to bet he's still probably, to Mark at least, going to blame it on Chrissy? Like, oh my God, this was just one of the best Survivor moments I have ever experienced, honestly.
I mean, he couldn't have really blamed it on Chrissy because he was the like, you should play the idol. Trust me. Why would you trust me if I wasn't telling you the truth?
Sure.
And even when Sam went home, he was kind of, I think Mark knew. Mark knew. But yeah, it was
because Mark is now, in a way, unintentionally, the reason why his wife got eliminated from Survivor. Again. It is just truly karma, honestly. Bye, Sam. I won't miss you at all. Now, I know we've talked about this, and I want to talk about it. I want to talk about Sam's Ponderosa. We haven't talked about a lot of the Ponderosas. But I want to talk about Sam's Ponderosa because she truly is a revisionist historian. Because in certain points of her Ponderosa, she brings up how it was always the plan for either her or Mark to get eliminated and for the other one to have these idols. And it's like, where was this always the plan, ma'am? You talked about this as a contingency.
Right. It was never the plan for you to go home this week. If that was a plan, it was never vocalized.
She would have tried to put Mark in a better position.
Right. Like what? it just.
I just love how cold everyone in Ponderosa was to her.
I'm going to put on my acting skills now.
Please do.
Okay. And scene. We walk into Ponderosa. The table is set. Dinner is served. Everybody's like,
I was gonna try to make you full screen. I don't know how to do that, but
hold on.
You hit the full screen one. Oh no, one of the other ones. One in the middle. The ones in the middle.
Oh wait, no. Yes.
Oh.
Delicious. Mm-hmm. And this is Sam. And then Jordan says, so that's all I got for. Thank you. That's all I have for that. But it was so silent. Crickets, like plates clinking, glasses been filled, sipping, and nobody saying
in the words of a woman we refuse to acknowledge because she doesn't deserve it. It's what she deserved.
Yeah. It really is what she deserved.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I want to say as well, I want to talk about this trailer because Mark in this entire trailer looks like a serial killer. He literally is like, Jordy knows how to plant. I know how to kill. And I'm like, I'm sorry?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Huh? I'm sorry. What?
And I wish I could tell you that the trailer was just over-exaggerating everything.
I know it's not.
But it's not. Because I watched that episode. I haven't seen the last episode, but I watched that episode. And Mark looks like he is, you know how we equivalent the Marines and how they act and how when they get into a mode that you can tell that they're on and it's like kill switch has been switched.
I have several Marines in my family. So
and when they get into that mindset, that switch is flipped and they're going into activate mode and kill mode. That is what Mark looked like.
Yeah.
And that's what Mark looks like in this episode. Even when he's trying to like brush it off, you can tell it's because like it's moments where he's like, especially like at the immunity challenge and things like that when he's talking to Jonathan and he's kind of like trying
you did it to your damn self.
It's like even when that he still looks. This is scary Mark. This Mark is scary Mark, and I don't know about the rest of them. I don't like scary Mark. I wouldn't want to be in scary Mark's trajectory when he goes there, but yeah, I'll let you all wait and see the next episode of what happens with this Mark.
And our review will come out at some point in the future.
I am going to say we are going to do our recording on Saturday like we say we were going to do.
We're going to drop episodes for the rest of the season on Tuesdays because this is going out on a Tuesday. We're going to do it. I'm saying it.
Yep.
It's in the universe. We're doing it.
We're doing it. We're going to record on Saturday. We're going to drop it on Tuesday. That's what we're doing.
The same way we're going to record Survivor at some point, Survivor US at some point, and drop it on Monday. I don't know.
Whatever. Sometime. We're going to drop it, but we're going to get it done.
We are because, we're almost done with this season. We're going to get on a schedule by the end of the season.
Yes. So. Period.
So with that,
we've done 4 episodes, y'all, in 2 hours.
We're getting real good at that.
We're doing really good. I'm very proud of us that we talked about a lot. We talked about a lot. So
everything and nothing and everything happened in these 4 episodes.
Exactly. So yeah, I'm very happy about it. Survivor it's going to be good. Remember to follow us, like us on Twitter, and subscribe to us on YouTube.
Yep.
Stay in touch with us. Follow us the cup at the cup_reality so you can know when our notifications come out. We'll let you know when everything is going to come out.
If you have a kidney,
please
donate your kidney if you would like.
If you would like. If you know someone who was willing to help, please do that. Kimberly Davis is, like I said, a dear friend of mine who is, in a situation right now, and we would love to fix that and change that. So, if you know anyone who wants to be a kidney donor, call that number if you need want to ask me anything about it. You feel free to DM me at LadyJ78. And I will tell you the information that I know. And if I can't get it, if I don't know it, I'll get it and get it to you. And always, as always, pause, pray, and proceed. Yes. Because think about if this is something you want to do, pray about it. And if you feel like this is what you want to do, proceed with the plan and call me.
Or proceed with whatever process you're going to go through, or proceed with not doing it. All of that.
Or proceed with everything, just in life. But just I appreciate even the consideration, but the prayers and the thoughts, we would love that as well. So thank you very much. And on that note, we're gonna say cheers, Logan.
Cheers. Goodbye. Bye now.
Bye now. Bye.
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 Sam is gone and we're happy. Bye.
Mm-hmm.